Hello, just a quick thing here. My very good friend Jess, also known as Meat Clown, has been having a really rough time. She's recently gotten fired from her job, and to make matters worse, her car broke down. Twice. In the same week. She's very dear to me, so I will be linking her GoFundMe, both in the description of this video as well as in the pinned comment. Only donate if you can and have disposable income, of course. And if you can't, that's no problem at all. Just sharing it around and getting some eyes on it would be incredibly helpful. Thank you so much for your time. Happy Pride Month! Chances are that if you're a die-hard Sonic fan, you're either gay, trans, a furry, or neurodivergent. And given that I'm free of those things while the other is undiagnosed, I think I fit in pretty well here. The cast of Sonic is filled to the brim with fun and colorful characters of diverse cultures, personalities, and experiences. Within fandom spaces, headcanons are often a way for people to explore what isn't explicitly said in the original material, whether that be funny quirks of a character like a favorite food or pastime, or something more, with a large part being of identity and sexuality. Queerness is a significant part of the Sonic franchise, and it's not a recent thing at all, though it's gotten much more apparent over the years. Night the Owl and Dawn the Rooster are a canonical gay couple. Soleo the Sugar Glider is non-binary, and Barry is only referred to with they them pronouns. Whisper and Tangle have the most obvious queer relationship. It runs a bit deeper than just IDW though, as Archie's reboot was going to feature a bisexual Sally Acorn in a relationship with Nicole. Gold the Tenrak was also confirmed to be a lesbian, all by Ethan Stanley, the lead artist of Sega of America's lore team and current lead writer for IDW, whom, might I add, is also queer. The reason for this seeming abundance of queer characters in IDW is something I suspected was because of its near non-existent Japanese audience, and come to find out I was partially right. Quote, as far as LGBT plus rep goes, expected more from characters originating in the comic. We have more wiggle room with them. There's also the fact that Sonic as a franchise has an unusually flexible tone. The characters are stylized enough that fans can project onto them easily, but emotionally expressive enough that those projections can still feel meaningful. While not confirmed, there are a number of hints of other characters in the franchise being queer or having something going on. Silver has been in the forefront of queer jokes for a while, not only for being the softest of the main trio of hedgehogs when it comes to personality. His main theme from '06, Dreams of an Absolution, is about a former gay relationship from songwriter Bentley Jones.
Scandal! Dreams was written about a gay love story.
Who gave his blessing on the fan interpretation. Even if he's not ultimately the one who decides Silver's lore, maybe they chose the song for a reason, wink wink. Rouge has also been frequently headcanoned as being bisexual due to her interest in Knuckles and her whole thing with Topaz from Sonic X. They're a popular pairing given their reactions to one another and their general tension, plus making for a good opposites attract dynamic. I also can't forget Agent Stone. What was initially kind of a joke became pretty blatant. I mean, I think if somebody clasped my hands together and said they loved me, I would be less convinced than if they made latte art of our two heads with hearts around it. Stone's undying loyalty to the Doctor goes beyond what's considered straight. And this is the part where I can get into headcanons and speculations of general fandom interpretations and all that, which is the real fun part of discussing this topic. Sonic prominently finds himself at the middle of this discourse very often, but in varying ways. There's several compelling arguments for reasoning that Sonic might be bisexual, gay, trans, ace, and all sorts of things. After all, what's better than a good and classic lovers dynamic between rivals? Which one of them? Take your pick, really. There's valid arguments for either interpretation. From a rivals to lovers dynamic, a confidence in a new identity, or an explanation as to how the hedgehog can seem to settle down. Chow Mix has quite an amazing video on his own take of an ace Sonic. I'd recommend checking it out if you're interested. Another very popular queer interpretation of Sonic is of him being a trans man, with the visual of the two scars across his chest that he wears without shame. It's kind of just a cool design even if you separate it from its trans messaging. There are interpretations of a trans feminine Sonic, and those are lovely as well. It's fun to see how Sonic's core personality doesn't change regardless of sexuality or gender identity, it's simply reframed in a way that works. The same is extended to Shadow, whose journey resonates a lot with queer people, questioning his identity and place in the world and choosing his own path despite not fitting in. Themes of self-discovery, belonging, and defining yourself on your own terms resonate with experiences that many queer people recognize, making him a remarkably relatable character. Probably except for having a demon dad that tries to convince you to regress on the progress you've made towards finding your own peace. Oh, wait, actually? And honestly, the franchise encourages this LGBT reading constantly. The Sonic series thrives on themes of individuality, nonconformity, and refusing to fit into society's expectations. Sonic literally defines himself through freedom, so it makes sense that queer audiences, people who often grow up navigating identity and social expectations, would connect so strongly with these stories and reshape them in their own image. And I myself have my own headcanons. Not a lot, really, but my main one centers around Metal Sonic. If you've been here a while, you'd know that Metal Sonic is my all-time favorite Sonic character, aside from Amy and Sonic himself. Pull back the curtain on the sharp, cool design and you're left with something incredibly vulnerable. Metal Sonic begins life with an externally imposed identity. They're a clone, a copy, a machine meant to resemble something else. They experience alienation from that assigned role and become obsessed. But what if? What if Eggman's programming didn't have such a tight grip on Metal's identity? The concept has been around for a good while, and with IDW's frustrating stagnance on the character, fans had already come up with their own conclusion. Born to Fail is one of my favorite fanzines of all time. It's a neat little collection of comics all based on the various robots of the Sonic franchise. Emerald, Gemerald, E123 Omega, Belle, Nicole, Shard, and E102 Gamma all get at least a page all for themselves. From a cute render, something more existential, or a casual moment, a conversation. The colors of the pages are soft, the stylization of the characters is just on point. The world of this fanzine is absolutely wonderful. Metal Sonic, however. In this timeline, Eggman has died. The Empire fell. Sonic stands in the wreckage and wonders why Metal even pushes forward, which is when they realize that obedience is all they've ever known. The epiphany of their growing desire to be themselves makes Metal physically recoil. The only remnants of Eggman's past are Belle, Sage, and Metal Sonic, who is trying their best to build a new life. But the damage had already been done. Sage had the luxury of only momentarily being an ally to Eggman before his death, and Belle had been created by a kinder man. But Metal Sonic had been there since the beginning. Their harm was much more physical, long-lasting, and that meant that Metal Sonic would need to work much harder. Ranging from flinches, awkward stares, and full-out fights, the damage Metal has done hasn't been forgotten, and most likely won't be for a very long time. But it's not all bad. Not at all. There's acceptance and new opportunities to prove they're not the same as before. Things will get better in due time. They present with a rather traditionally feminine appearance, a simple shirt, a long skirt, and a single large eyelash on its eyes. Softer, kinder, but still recognizable. It's almost ironic, given the purpose they were built for, and how they choose to present now, having found their actual purpose and identity. All we can hope for is that this version of Metal can be remembered as something other than the Doctor's shadow. Happy Pride Month, everybody. While it's a time to spread joy, I know many of us are facing more difficult circumstances. I know you'll move forward. You're strong. Until next time, love ya!